Lauri Markkanen traded to the Golden State Warriors. Should they do it? As you all know, the Warriors are looking to make some drastic changes and get another superstar to join Steph and Curry. And in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 reasons why trading for Lauri Markkanen could be the perfect fit and how he can help them hopefully get back into the playoffs and win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video. And guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it would mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is that Lauri Markkanen is a fantastic scorer. Now, as you all know, Lauri Markkanen plays for the Utah Jazz right now, and he is actually averaging 23.6 points for them, and he's been doing this on a very efficient rate. He's been shooting 39% from the three, guys, and also an effective field goal percentage of 59%. This is honestly insane, especially for a big man that stands at 7 foot, 240 pounds, and is still only 26 years old. As you guys know, he did win 2022-2023 Most Improved Player, is a 2017 All-Rookie, and also a one-time All-Star, and he is just starting to get into his peak years, playing in the NBA, having good youth behind him, but also having a lot of NBA experience. And this is why I think Lauri Markkanen would be fantastic for the Golden State Warriors. As you all know, when it comes to the Warriors, they really do lack with scoring big men, and we definitely have seen that being a big problem. If we look at some of the scores for the big men opportunity, we actually see Kevon Looney, who's a big man for this team, is only averaging 5.7 points. You have another player like Draymond Green, who although hasn't been playing a lot of games, is still only averaging 9.5. Now, the biggest scorer for that big man role is definitely Jonathan Kuminga at 13 points, but I don't think that is enough and is one of the reasons why the Golden State struggle quite a lot. I think a lot of the attention is on Stephen Curry a lot of the game and the guards in general, and I think having a scoring big man like Lauri Markkanen can definitely help this team even go further. They definitely need scoring in any sort of way, and I think having another big man scorer could definitely really help inside presence felt due to the fact that Stephen Curry is more of an outside shooter, and the second best scorer in the team is Klay Thompson, who's also an outside shooter as well. So they really don't have that much inside presence on offense, and I think that's something that definitely needs to be worked on, especially when it comes to the Golden State Warriors and what they have right now. If we look at the 2-point percentage also for someone like Lauri Markkanen, he's also shooting a great 2-point percentage of 59% as well. So his inside presence is definitely felt, and I think that could help this team even go further in the future. The second is that Lauri Markkanen is a fantastic rebounder. Now, as you all know, Lauri Markkanen does stand at 7 foot, so it isn't going to be too hard for him to be a great rebounder, but he definitely is and is very aggressive on the offensive side of things as well. He actually averages an offensive rebound of 2.4, which is great, but in total, his total rebound so far this season is 8.7, which I think is really good. He definitely has a high usage rate for the Utah Jazz when it comes to the rebounding department, and it's definitely felt even though Utah Jazz have been pretty subpar so far this season, but they have been able to claw their way back into the playoff picture, and I think that sort of help can definitely be needed for the Golden State Warriors. If you look at the Warriors right now, when it comes to rebounds, you have Kevon Looney, who's averaging 7.1, Dario Saric, who's averaging 5.7, and then next from that is Brandon Podziemski and also Draymond Green at 5 rebounds as well. So they definitely need a very aggressive rebounder, and I think someone like Lauri Markkanen can definitely do that trick. I think Looney is a great defender, but even having more rebounders, especially when it comes to Warriors running small ball, I think is going to be very beneficial. As we all know, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, they definitely have struggled quite a lot this year on the rebounding side of things, but I do believe that's due to the fact that the Golden State Warriors, and specifically Steve Kerr, loves to run small ball basketball, which I think has too big of an effect for them to actually continue to win games. I think small ball does work to a certain extent, but if you're going up against players like Wemby, going up against players like Anthony Davis and LeBron in that power forward and center position, it is going to be a huge struggle for you to get boards and also to have that inside presence. And I think adding someone like Lauri Markkanen at 7 foot, being only 240 pounds, very light on his feet, can definitely help this team even more. The third is that the Golden State Warriors wouldn't have to trade a lot in order to get him. Now, I think Lauri Markkanen is definitely a rising star, but with the way Utah Jazz have been playing so far this season, the Utah Jazz are actually looking to rebuild, as they don't think they have a championship team, and they are looking to get rid of Lauri Markkanen. So that's definitely the first thing. There's definitely a lot of desperation when it comes to Utah Jazz wanting to sell him, since due to the fact that Lauri Markkanen may be on his way out, Golden State Warriors could definitely swoop in with a great trade that doesn't really involve a lot of pieces. There have been some mock trades happening here and there, especially on ESPN, and some of the great mock trades trades that I did see were actually involving Draymond Green, a couple of picks, and maybe add someone else like Moses Moody. So it wouldn't be too much in order to get him. I think Moody is a great player and Draymond is a great player as well. But when it comes to the future of Golden State Warriors, the future of Steph Curry, they definitely need to make some drastic changes. And I think the payoff is definitely worth it for Moody and Draymond Green to get someone like Lauri Markkanen on the team. So that's one of the reasons why I think this trade would work very, very well. The Golden State Warriors wouldn't have to give up so much, and in return they get a rising star who's still only 26 years old. The greatest thing about this is that I do believe when it comes to Lauri Markkanen, he does want to play for a championship type team, and I think Warriors still definitely have the pieces. And even though it hasn't gone as well and they're not in the playoff picture so far, I think they are just 1 or 2 trades away from getting back into the playoff picture, as I think they have enough great pieces in order to make that happen. Kuminga is still there, Trayce Jackson-Davis will still be there, and a lot of players would still be in this team if they decide to trade for someone like Markkanen, and they wouldn't have to give up a lot of their roster in order to do that. Another mock trade that was given is also adding Jordan Clarkson from the Utah Jazz in the trade, and also adding Chris Paul from the Golden State Warriors side in order to even it out, continuing on with more rookie picks as well. And I think this would honestly be a very good trade as well. I think Jordan Clarkson would be a fantastic player for the Golden State Warriors. He's definitely still a young star, and on top of that, when it comes to Jordan Clarkson, I definitely think he does add that little bit of X factor that the Warriors desperately need, and that they lost when it came to actually trading Chris Paul for someone like Jordan Poole. Now, do I still think he's a great player? Yes, Chris Paul can definitely still do a bunch of great things, but I think with what the Warriors are trying to build, Golden State Warriors need definitely someone who's not just a bit taller, but someone a bit more younger that can definitely play defense and play offense as well. CP3, he is getting older. It is tough for him to stay on defense, stay on offense, and play a lot of games. And because of that, it is definitely a huge issue for the Warriors right now. Clarkson, he's averaging 18.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And like I mentioned before, the Utah Jazz are looking on rebuilding from scratch, trading everyone and anyone they can. I think adding Clarkson to that trade could honestly make this even more and more beneficial. The fourth is that Lauri Markkanen fits the play style of the Golden State Warriors. Now, I think this is something that is so important, and we talk about this on a lot of different trade opportunities. But trading for a big star does not always mean you are going to win championships, and we are currently seeing that with some certain teams right now. For example, Phoenix Suns. A lot of people thought the Phoenix Suns would be the next best team and #1 spot, but guys, they have had a lot of games where they are struggling and they don't seem to look or live up to the hype that they were supposed to live up to. And I think this is something that is very, very big due to the fact that their play styles seem to not match, and that's why the Phoenix Suns, although they aren't struggling, they aren't performing to what people were expecting. But I do believe if Lauri Markkanen came to the Golden State Warriors, it would be very beneficial, as Lauri Markkanen's play style definitely fits what the Warriors are trying to do. Not only is he a great three-point shooter and can space out the floor, he is also shooting, like I mentioned, 39% from the three, but on top of that, he's also taking 8 3-point attempts per game. So he's not only taking 1 or 2 guys, he is a high volume 3-point shooter and is shooting it at some of the best rate possible at almost 40%. And on top of that, when it comes to his play style, like I mentioned, he likes to play fast pace. He can play outside, play inside on offense, which I think makes it even more dangerous for the Golden State Warriors on the offensive side of things. When it comes to Golden State Warriors, obviously Steph Curry is still, the greatest shooter alive, and he is still playing very, very well, but he definitely needs someone he can run pick and rolls with that is also an offensive threat. And that's one of the reasons why Kevin Durant and Golden State Warriors Stephen Curry pick and roll back in the day was one of the most lethal pick and rolls out there. Lauri Markkanen may not be no KD, but I do believe he can definitely pack a punch, pick and pop, pick and roll. It doesn't matter. Lauri Markkanen can score in all facets, and I think it will just open up the floor for even more players as a whole. So Lauri Markkanen also likes to play fast pace, which I love to see, and I think he still fits in that small ball lineup that Steve Kerr loves to run due to the fact that he is very quick for his height, especially at 7 foot. He does a great job guarding any position, even if he is stuck on a guard. I'm not saying he's a lockdown defender, but he still does a very, very good job against guards, which I think is hugely beneficial, especially since Warriors do struggle a lot in those scenarios. So the fifth is, should the Golden State Warriors trade for Lauri Markkanen? In my personal opinion, I think it is honestly a huge game changer, and it is a fantastic trade to make. Lauri Markkanen Markkanen is a young and up and rising star, and on top of that, if they can add Jordan Clarkson, I think it makes this trade even 10 times better. Clarkson is a fantastic player, great scorer, great defender, and is still pretty young at 31 years old, and I think getting them for a good deal, since Utah Jazz definitely want to make a trade since they are looking to rebuild, I think now is a perfect time for the Warriors to do it, due to the fact that if they do get them, they wouldn't have to trade up a lot to get them. Now, it does seem that Draymond Green doesn't seem the same. Other players are not getting the same amount of game time, such as Moses Moody or even Chris Paul, to the amount that they are looking for. And because of that, I definitely think with what the Warriors have right now, if they don't make any drastic changes right now, they aren't going to make the playoffs, and that is just the reality of it. They definitely need to make some huge changes, and I think it definitely can start in the big man department, where they need a scoring big man, someone who can also rebound and play defense and run the small ball if they need to. And Lauri Markkanen, I think, is the perfect fit for that.